Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and we are back with another video. Naruto What has now crossed 200 subscribers, and as a special reward for all of you who have supported me and this channel, I'm making part 6 to What If Naruto was a full Uzumaki and rebuild the Whirlpool village, an extra long video. It's gonna cross an hour probably. Today we will be covering the tuning exams, and by the end of the video the Shippuden time skip will have happened. So but first let's recap the last part. In part 5 we actually covered Naruto's training under Jiraiya and Tsunade, which led to his mastery of Toad and Slug Sagebone, and Naruto met Hiruzen, Kakashi and Guy on the Team 7 bridge, and he made it clear that he wasn't going to negotiate, right? Naruto's Jonin got all the stuff that Naruto asked for back to Uzushiogakure, including the Uzumaki Shrine on the outskirts of Konoha. And by the way, I failed to mention that Naruto placed the shrine right at the center of his village, so that it could be accessed by everyone in his village, but it wasn't going to be open to people from outside the village. And he rebuilt the shrine so that uh, it was presentable and stuff basically. Then Naruto went with his teams, as well as Kimimaru, as he was one of the Jonin sensei, to Konoha and for the Chunin exams. And by the way, during this time, the village was being Naruto's village was being run by Haku. Naruto went to Ichiraku ramen shop, caught up with Teuchi and Ayame, and then when he left, he met Gara and his team, and he made a better seal for Gara, and then he and Gara became friends. So after that, the first two stages of the Chunin exams took place, and everyone who got through them in the original series, they were able to get through them. Plus the Uzushiogakure teams, which were Naruto's and Kimimaru's team, and they were able to get through as well. So that's where we left off in the last part. So now let's get started with this part. Alright, so now it's time for the preliminary rounds for the final stage, and as usual, Kabuto did chicken out, causing the number of genin remaining to be even, and some of the teams nervously look at the teams from Uzushiogakure as they kind of saw how strong they were in the Forest of Death. And they also looked like they weren't even tired. And of course, there are a few scratches here and there, but other than that, they were in tip-top shape. Now I'll be telling you the pairings for the fights, the preliminaries. So the fights will be Sakura Haruno versus Raiju Uchiha, Tamari versus Umi Uchiha, Yoroi Akado versus Sasuke Uchiha. Yes, the same pairing got generated as the one in the original. Rock Lee versus Kankuro, Shikamaru Nara versus Tenten, Ino Yamanaka versus Neji Hyuga, Chino Chinoike versus Kiba Inuzuka, Daichi Uzumaki versus Dosu Kinuta, Kei Uchiha versus Zaku Abumi, Hinata Hyuga versus Akari Kaguya, Sai versus Misumi Surugi, Kinsuchi versus Gara, and Choji Akimichi versus Shino Aburami. And yeah, guys, I'm just gonna tell you that I'm changing the name of the Uzumaki in Kimimaru's team from Kin to Daichi, and thus changing his gender from female to male as well. And this is because Kin is already one of the genin who is participating, and I kind of forgot about her, so I named the Uzumaki Kin. And the other reasons because if the Uzumaki is a girl, Raiju would be the only male genin from Uzushiogakure, so I kind of wanted to put another dude in the set basically. So there is no Kin Uzumaki anymore. It's just gonna be Daichi Uzumaki now. Okay. So, anyways, uh, they make the preparations for the Chunin exams final stage. Like setting up the arena and organizing everything and stuff. Basically that. And anyways, in this what if, instead of just the Kazekage who's actually Orochimaru, but whatever. Uh, Anyways, all five Kage actually assembled to watch the Chunin exams and they were basically like waiting for Naruto to arrive because Naruto is basically the star of the show here. Uh, because all of them were curious about the leader of Uzushiogakure. Yes, like even Hiruzen because he didn't really know his identity. So, yeah, same with Mei. So, Naruto got onto the stage where all the Kage were sitting in their seats, and all of them were like staring at him basically. Mei was kind of smiling at him because like Naruto's village was on good terms with the Mist village, so she wanted to be like a bit more amicable with Naruto. And even though the Kazekage was Orochimaru, he was actually like genuinely curious about the new power in the world, that is Uzushiogakure. So he also like stared at Naruto. And Naruto's like, I understand that you all are curious about me, but it's rude to stare at people. And then he went and took his seat, and Onoki piped up, and he was like, yeah, yeah. So basically, Onoki is a Tsuchikage, if you don't know. So he basically piped up and was like, enough is enough, leader of Uzushiogakure. Reveal yourself to us. And Naruto kind of chuckled at him, and he was like, alright, 5 Kage. I was planning to finally come out of the shadows today, anyways. So, so Naruto basically stood up and removed his mask and his cloak that hid his red hair. And Naruto looked up at Hiruzen and looked up and Hiruzen actually recognized him after a moment. And Hiruzen practically like jumped in his chair, like he was flabbergasted. He was like, Naruto, you are the leader of Uzushiogakure? And Naruto was like, yes, Lord Hokage. For the rest of you Kages, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I am the creator and the leader of Uzushiogakure as you know it today. I would like to make it clear that my village and I intend to be at peace with other villages, so I will not tolerate any attacks on my village. I wish to avoid a repeat of what happened to my village before I rebuilt it. And he said this while like giving a look to all the Kage except Mei and the Kazekage, who Naruto knew as Orochimaru, as he could sense his chakra. Uh, so basically, he then glanced at Orochimaru before sitting back down and displaced Orochimaru under Genjutsu. And Orochimaru was like, but this feels like Sharingan Genjutsu. How? And Naruto floated up to him in the Genjutsu and said, yes, I managed to emulate something similar to that during my years of training. But that's besides the point. I know who you are and I have a good idea of what you intend to do, knowing your history. Orochimaru. And Orochimaru was shocked, but he just smiled and said, what a powerful child. I would love to steal your young body. And Naruto was like, don't even try it. Instead, I would like to discuss a proposition with you after the Chunin exams finish. I warn you not to attack this village or I'll have to take you by force. It may be run by a bunch of idiots now, but I still have hope that my father's sacrifice to protect this village will show its worth someday. And with this, the Genjutsu ended, and like it basically released. And Orochimaru he gritted his teeth and thought, "Well, we'll see about that, kid." And all the other Kage basically like noticed uh, Naruto sitting back down after giving his little speech. And Hiruzen was like, impossible. You trained with Jiraiya for a year and left to do unfinished business for another year. Now, after that, immediately you make your appearance as leader of Uzushiogakure. How? When? And Naruto was like, I don't owe you any explanations, Lord Hokage. Everything I said was, everything I said is the truth, whether you believe it or not. Now, why don't we stop delaying the progression of the Chunin exams? There are several aspiring genin who waited for a long time in order to participate in this event. And Hiruzen decided to save his questions for later. So now the preliminary round begins, and the first two names that are called are Sakura Haruno versus Raiju Uchiha. Of course, everyone is shocked hearing the name Uchiha because they thought that Sasuke and Itachi were the only remaining Uchihas. And some muttering began among the crowd as Sakura and Raiju walked into the arena. And Sasuke was like shocked as hell right now. And he was like, "So they are Uchihas. I have to find a way to get them to the village. We will all restore the prestigious Uchiha clan." Anyways, the fight started, and Sakura kind of tried to taunt Raiju by saying, "So, you're an Uchiha, huh? However, I bet you can't even hold a candle to my Sasuke." And oh man, like this didn't even like phase Raiju because Raiju knew how much stronger he was than Sakura, and uh, but the only thing that phased him was that there's another Uchiha in this village, and he was like, "So, there's another Uchiha in this village. And by the way, you're a little too weak to be throwing taunts at me. No wonder you're the other Uchiha boy's lapdog. I honestly kind of feel bad for him." And Sakura got annoyed and she threw a bunch of kunai at Raiju, and Raiju easily whizzed around catching all of them and said, "I can tell by the way you use ninja tools that you lack skill. You aren't even worth fighting. So I won't use my Sharingan on you." So he just threw all the kunai in the air and said, "Uchiha style, Shadow Kunai Jutsu." And Sakura managed to dodge most of them, but she got nicked by a few of them and she was bleeding. And she got up and said, "Is that all you got? I can still fight." And Raiju sighed and was like, "You really thought that that was all I was gonna do with the kunai, huh?" And Sakura looked at him in confusion, and as Raiju wove a set of hand signs and said, "Lightning style, jumping thunderbolts," and the arena like it lit up with lightning, and powerful bolts of lightning started jumping between all the kunai, and Sakura tried to dodge them, but after dodging a few, she got hit by one, then another. Then dozens of bolts kept hitting her and hitting her as she literally looked as though she was using the lightning armor like the Raikage. And the Raikage looked at this and he was like, that boy is generating enough lightning to make it look like that girl is wearing my ultimate lightning chakra cloak. Just how powerful are your ninja, leader of Uzushiogakure?" And Naruto said, "I'm glad you're impressed by my genin, Lord Raikage," as they all continued watching. And Sakura was like screaming in pain until she fell unconscious, and the proctor announced Raiju as the winner and told Raiju to stop his jutsu as he was concerned for Sakura's safety. So Raiju just stopped the jutsu and Sakura was rushed to the hospital. And Sasuke couldn't believe what he was seeing. Like the difference in power, it started making him angry. But Kakashi put a hand on him and told him to calm down. So now it was time for Tamari versus Umi Uchiha. So the announcer like announced their names, and Sasuke was kind of surprised. Like, but he realized that that Raiju's entire team was made of three Uchiha siblings. So, anyways, Tamari and Umi walked to the center of the arena, and the match started. And Tamari, she did the same thing she did with Tenten in the original, where she explains on the about the moons on her fan and stuff. And Umi just smirks at this. Like, uh, Tamari was like, "Oh, if you see the third moon, you die," or something like that. But Umi just smirked. And Tamari, she brought her first moon out, and Umi was like, "Hmm, you're stupid enough to use wind release on an Uchiha. Don't you know wind's elemental weakness?" And Tamari was shocked as she kinda got what Umi was saying, but it was too late. Umi activated her Sharingan and wove a bunch of hand signs that said, "Fire style, meteor shower." as several fireballs basically flew towards Temari, and Temari used the second moon to stop them. Like even though this increased the size of the fireballs, it slowed them down a lot, and Temari was able to dodge them. So then Temari brought her third moon out, and Umi was like, "I commend you for putting up a good fight, but I guess I'll have to use this." And she activated her Mangekyo Sharingan, and this shocked everyone. Like everyone. I mean, like the five Kage and Sasuke, and everyone who knew about the Mangekyo Sharingan. And Sasuke was like, "One of them has a Mangekyo. Impossible. How does a genin have the Mangekyo Sharingan?" And the Kage also started muttering among themselves. And except Naruto, but Naruto wasn't really a Kage, but so it's basically just a Kage. Anyways, Umi absorbed this entire jutsu, like three moons thing, using her Mangekyo ability, and she did a bunch of hand signs and said, "Water style, great hurricane." And this created a huge spinning hurricane in the arena that drenched pretty much everyone, and it sort of swept Temari away and kind of drowned her. And then the proctor called a match in Umi's favor, and what the water was removed from Tamari's lungs by some medical ninja. So yeah, now for the next part we have Yoroi Akado versus Sasuke Uchiha. The same thing as original kind of happened here as well. Like Sasuke used the Lion's Barrage on Yoroi, and Yoroi tried to absorb his chakra, and Sasuke ended up winning the match. Nothing much to be said about that. But Naruto kind of started taking an interest towards Sasuke. He was like, that boy is very resourceful. And anyways, the next match is Rock Lee versus Kankuro. And so I guess you guys could probably guess that this match was totally a stomp in Lee's favor. Kankuro tried to trick Lee by having his puppet pretend to be him and stuff, but Lee crushed the puppet, and Kankuro is now left without a weapon, so he gave up. So, anyways, now we have Shikamaru Nara versus Tenten, and oh man, like there's not even any point to this match. The winner was obviously the overpowered goddess Tenten. I'm kidding, like Tenten was fondled by Shikamaru. Like she tried using her ninja tools, but when she landed on the ground, Shikamaru's shadow position caught her, and Shikamaru already had a kunai in his hand, like he was prepared, while Tenten was like empty handed. So Shikamaru walked towards Tenten, and Tenten walked towards him, and Shikamaru held the kunai to her throat, while Tenten imitated the action, but there was no kunai in her hand. So, but then, like after Shikamaru did that, Tenten gave up, and Shikamaru's intellect really impressed Naruto. So next we have Ino Yamanaka versus Neji Hyuga, and man, Neji pretty much bodied Ino. Like Ino tried to use mind transfer jutsu on Neji, but Neji broke out in a few seconds, and he blocked off all of Ino's chakra points, and that was gonna wait for Ino. And Naruto's thinking, like he was like, a Byakugan user. Akari is the only Byakugan user in my village. It would be nice to have more. But this boy is arrogant. If there are no more options available, I'll try to recruit him. And guys, I guess you can see where I'm going with this. So, anyways, the next fight is Chino Chinoike versus Kiba Inuzuka. And man, like Kiba got annihilated, man. Like after training her Ketsuryu with the help of Kimimaro, she's able to basically bloodbend. This is an Avatar: The Last Airbender reference, but basically since the Ketsuryu can control blood and stuff, like she was able to like make Kiba just like walk into a wall and knock himself out, and this is basically how she won. And so Chino won pretty easily, and the Kage were all like confused about this new dojutsu except Onoki because he had once seen this dojutsu before, so he kind of did some of the explaining to the other Kage. So, anyways, Next we have Daichi Uzumaki versus Dosu Kinuta. So Dosu is basically that guy who has that gauntlet kind of thing, and it basically makes a lot of sound and damages the basically disorients the opponent so that Dosu can inflict some damage basically. And so the match started, and Dosu he ran towards Daichi and with his arm that emits sound and stuff, and Daichi immediately deduced that the arm was Dosu's main weapon, so he wrapped his adamantine chakra chains around the arm like the gauntlet, and he yanked it off. And by the way, this wasn't his actual arm but the device that was on his arm, but it was kind of like attached by a few rods to his arm, so like his arm kind of got annihilated in the process. And Daichi he basically crushed the device with his chains, and he looked at Dosu and he was like, give up if you don't want that to happen to you. And Dosu got really scared and decided that it wasn't really worth losing his life like that, so he just gave up. And next battle is Kei Uchiha versus Zaku Abumi. And Zaku is like one of the people in Dosu's team. So, anyways, and man, Zaku already lost both his arms to Sasuke, but he still decided to like fight using the rest of his body because he thought that he could like try. So, Kei was like, "So you're really gonna try against me, huh?" And Zaku he gritted his teeth angrily, and Kei just blitzed Zaku and sliced both of his legs clean off, like brutal. Like she did this with the katana that she engulfed with wind chakra, and Zaku just fell down and was like unable to move, and he was howling in pain basically. And the proctor called the match in Kei's favor, and Zaku and his severed legs were carried out of the arena in a stretcher towards the hospital. Uh, so then the next fight was Hinata Hyuga versus Akari Kaguya, and Akari looked at Hinata and said, "It seems you have no will to fight. I'll go easy on you." And Hinata was kind of miffed at this because, she wanted to be taken seriously basically. And she said the same thing that, she wouldn't give up and stuff like that. But her will wasn't as strong as it was in the original, as she didn't really grow up with Naruto and stuff. But Naruto recognized her as the girl he saved from bullies several years ago. And he was like, alright, I'll take her back to my village. She has a Byakugan, so she'll be pretty useful. Anyways, the fight began, and Hinata activated her Byakugan, and she subside, and but Akari, she pulled her own move, like, and this surprised everyone except Naruto. And Akari also said Byakugan, and as she activated her Byakugan, yes, she did inherit Kaguya's Byakugan as well. And then anyways, Akari she fired her bone pellets at Hinata like from her fingertips, and these weren't sharp enough to pierce her, but they still blocked all of Hinata's chakra points. And Hinata then fell unconscious, and she was carried out of the arena as Akari was proclaimed the winner. So the Kages were all confused about Akari's bone Kekigenkai, as they were looking at Naruto hoping for an explanation, but Naruto just smirked and kept watching. So next we have Sai versus Misumi Surugi, the bendy guy, and Sai easily won. Like he drew so many ink creatures that Misumi got overwhelmed and he got knocked out. And with that, the match was over pretty quickly. And next matchup was Kinsuchi versus Gara, and Kinsuchi is basically the third member of Dosu's team. So, anyways, and man, this is such a terrible matchup for Kin. Like even with her genjutsu and stuff, she couldn't penetrate Gara's sand with her senbon at all. Like she tried and tried, but nothing. And Gara wasn't a psycho anymore thanks to Naruto, so he basically encased Kin in a sand coffin and said, "Do you yield?" And Kin tried to break out, but Gara began to squeeze the sand around her. And Kin yelped and said, "I yield." and Gara let her go. And the proctor announced Gara as the winner, and Gara smiled at Naruto and left back to the stands. And Orochimaru saw this and he was pissed off, and that Gara wasn't like bloodlusted anymore. So he looked at Naruto and gritted his teeth, but he couldn't really make a move because the other four Kage and Naruto were there. So, anyways, now we move on to the last fight, which is Ashino Aburami versus Choji Akimichi. So this ends in a double knockout because Shino uses his bugs to suck out Choji's chakra, but Choji's human boulder was too fast for him to dodge. So now the winners were congratulated, and the pairings for the actual fights in the final stage of the tuning exams were announced. So these are the pairings. So we have Neji Hyuga versus Akari Kaguya, Gara versus Sasuke Uchiha, Sai versus Kei Uchiha, Shikamaru Nara versus Umi Uchiha, Daichi Uzumaki versus Rock Lee, and Raiju Uchiha versus Chino Chinoike. Yeah, guys, I had to keep Gara versus Sasuke fight because it is kind of key to the plot, basically. So now the 1 month training break began, and Orochimaru approached Gara and the Sand siblings, who told him that they did not want to work with him anymore. But Orochimaru then put a hell of a lot of chakra into Gara's seal and actually weakened it a little bit. So Gara was less mental than he was in the original, but he was still pretty cuckoo now. You know, full of bloodlust and stuff. And he did his like same brainwashing on the siblings to, make them want to attack the Leaf Village now. And this all happened behind Naruto's back because actually Naruto he took his teams back to the village to train them using the time seal. Uh, and all of them trained so much that they actually got four basic chakra natures, while Raiju unlocked all five because he's kind of a prodigy. So, and Sasuke actually trained harder than he did in the original as he saw the power of the Uchihas from the Whirlpool village. So he trained so hard that he even unlocked his third chakra nature along with his third Tomoe in each of his Sharingan. And he being an Uchiha, he already had a natural affinity for fire release. And he learned Chidori and his variants, so he knew he had lightning release. And he even learned some wind release ninjutsu. He learned the wind style wind scythe, wind style gale palm, and wind style great breakthrough jutsu. And he was actually like able to learn all of these. As in this, what if Sasuke can actually learn make shadow clones? He can make a maximum of 10 before he can't handle the chakra drain. And he knew the trick to the shadow clone jutsu, where the experiences of go back to the original and stuff like that. So he used the shadow clones to train. And by the way, I failed to mention that Naruto also knew about this trick, and that's how he got so strong in taijutsu without having a partner to spar with. Like, he basically used the shadow clones to, spar with and speed up his training in taijutsu and like in other stuff. So, anyways, Sakura she regained consciousness after a week in the hospital, and she also decided to begin training. And because Sakura, like when she got annihilated by Raiju, it was kind of like a wake up call for her, telling her that she had to like stop pining for Sasuke all the time and actually like get stronger in order to earn respect, like both from Sasuke and the rest of her peers. So she began training to like increase her chakra levels and her chakra control, and she managed to increase these to such an extent that she could fight as if she had 50% of Sasuke's chakra reserves, which was pretty impressive. And then she decided to train under Kurenai and Genjutsu and spar with Sasuke to improve her taijutsu skill. And Kurenai, like having nothing better to do, as all her genin got destroyed in the preliminaries, like well except Shino, but Shino didn't exactly make it to the next round either, right? So, anyways, having nothing better to do, Kurenai agreed to train Sakura in Genjutsu, and Sasuke actually like secretly observed Sakura during all of this, and he actually like respected her effort. And when Sakura approached him, he was nicer than you would expect. He was like, Sakura, I myself can't spar with you as I have my own training to do. However, I will send a shadow clone with you whenever you want to train. But if you try to do anything with the shadow clone besides training, it'll immediately release itself and I will get to know and I will not help you out anymore. And Sakura agreed and trained with Sasuke's shadow clone to improve her taijutsu. And this kind of training actually made her way more powerful than her canon counterpart. And it kind of made Sasuke happy to see his teammate grow in strength, as it made the team stronger. And Sai did some of his Anbu training under Danzo, and he became a bit stronger as well. So during this month, Jiraiya actually came to visit Naruto, but he couldn't find him anywhere in the village. And by the way, guys, Naruto's Earth clone it released itself right after completing a training with Tsunade, so that wasn't around either. So Jiraiya, after looking around for a bit, perving on some girls, like doing some of that Jiraiya shit, right? Uh, he decided to visit Hiruzen and ask him about Naruto. So when he did this, Hiruzen was like, Jiraiya, I've been wanting to talk to you about that myself. Where and how did you find Naruto? And Jiraiya was surprised and he was like, what's this all of a sudden? Is Naruto not in the village? And Hiruzen was like, Jiraiya, how much has your spy network found out about a village known as Uzushiogakure? And Jiraiya was like, not much actually, except that it's like impossible to get in. Even I wasn't able to get in. So you're telling me that Naruto's in that village? And Hiruzen sighed and I was like, I guess that's one way to put it. He's the leader of that village. And Jiraiya burst out laughing and was like, good one, Sensei. Now tell me where Naruto really is. And Hiruzen just looked up at Jiraiya with like a serious expression on his face. And Jiraiya's laugh faltered as he was like, wait, you're being serious? What? When? How? It's impossible. I dropped him off here little over a year ago, after training him since the year prior to that. And Hiruzen was like, I don't know how any of this happened. We can only hope that he tells us about it in the Five Kage Summit. And Jiraiya was like, please take me as one of your guards. I also want to learn about his past. And Hiruzen agreed and Jiraiya left. And Jiraiya told all of his spies to divert their attention to Uzushiogakure, and if they didn't find any, only if they didn't find any potential threats to, keeping peace. And this time, and like now, Naruto, after he like trained his genin and stuff, he actually decided to open Kurama's cage and practice using his power. So when he opened the cage, Kurama walked out and said, there's no point in trying to fight you. You. So when he opened the cage, Kurama walked out and said, there's no point in trying to fight you. You can easily overpower me and defeat me. You have almost the same amount of chakra as I do, as well as two types of sage mode that you can stack on top of that. However, I still want to challenge you. I want to see exactly how powerful you are. If you can defeat me within a minute, I will give you my full cooperation along with my chakra. If you can't, train till you can and you will have my cooperation. And Naruto smiled and said, I accept your challenge, Kurama. I hope I live up to your standards. And Kurama smiled and started charging at Naruto, and Naruto just let out a bunch of chakra chains that wrapped around Kurama and restrained him. And Kurama was like, alright, I yield. How much time was that? And Naruto told him that it took 5 seconds, and Kurama was shocked at this and he was like, only 5? Really? You're humiliating me, Naruto. And Naruto laughed and said, oh, sorry, Kurama, but maybe I can help you become stronger too. Since you can use chakra as well, why don't you use ninjutsu? You have paws, so you should be able to make the hand signs. Only using tail beast bombs isn't a wide enough arsenal. And Kurama was flabbergasted. Like, no human had ever offered to do that. So he didn't even think of it as an option. And he was like, well, you see, I kind of don't know if I can do that. And Naruto said, oh yeah, sorry about that. Here, try this jutsu. The fire style fireball jutsu. It's a pretty basic jutsu, and these are hand signs. I'm pretty sure you'll have all five basic chakra natures since you are a tail beast. So this should be pretty easy for you and like a foolproof way of seeing whether you can do ninjutsu. And Naruto did a little demonstration for Kurama, and Kurama did as Naruto showed him, and it worked. It created a huge fireball that was even bigger than Naruto's, and Naruto was like, "Damn, Kurama, I can't wait to see what your majestic flame destroyer looks like." And Kurama smiled as this was new for him. Like his previous Jinchuriki would just use his power, but Naruto's like helping him in return. So, anyways, Naruto trained using KCM2 along with his Sage modes on top of that, and while Kurama trained in using ninjutsu. And Naruto could also do a proper tail beast transformation instead of just making a Kurama chakra avatar. Now, since that he had the full nine tails, and but he could also make the avatar if he wanted to. So, anyways, Naruto he met Hinata while strolling through the Leaf Village, and she was happy to see him. Like after they caught up, Naruto was about to leave. Hinata was like, Naruto-kun, please take me with you. My father wants to put the cage bird seal on me, and I don't want it. I don't want to become a slave for the Hyuga clan. And Naruto thought for a bit and was like, you seem to have a lot of potential. Alright, after the Chunin exams are finished, I will pick you up and we will go back to my village, okay? And Hinata was happy with this plan and she agreed. So now towards the end of the break, like about a week before it would end, the five Kage summit actually happened in the Iron Country. So in the five Kage summit, the five Kage were like all over Naruto. They wanted him to like tell his story and how he made his village and stuff again. And Naruto was like, all right, if we can get that over with and move on, I'll tell you about the things you ask me of. And he explained like his whole story to the Kage, and he obviously left out the specifics of the jutsus he learned and how he trained and stuff. And the five Kage were like touched by Naruto's story, and except the Kaze Kage because he was Orochimaru, but you know. Um, and Jiraiya was also there because he said he was going to be there, and you know he was like, oh no, like no way Naruto went through all of this and stuff like that, and he actually got angry at Hiruzen for like allowing for such a young boy to be treated so badly by the village. So, anyways, as the Kage began muttering among themselves, Naruto raised a hand, like signaling for all of them to become quiet. And Naruto was like, "Enough. We have more pressing matters to discuss." And as I asked him about that, like Naruto explained about the masked man in the Akatsuki who called himself Madara, but isn't actually Madara and all of that. So Naruto looked at the Hokage like Hiruzen and asked him whether any Uchiha disappeared from the village, or if any Uchiha's body was never found. And Hiruzen told him about Obito, and Naruto had a sneaking suspicion that the masked man was Obito. But the summit ended with Naruto warning the Kage about this. Like he also warned the Kage about the Akatsuki and all of that. But yeah, this was the main threat. So, anyways, the days slipped by and the 1-1 break was over. And all the genin that passed the preliminary rounds assembled at the arena, and Hiruzen gave a speech about the will of fire and all that shit. And the final stage of the Chunin exams commenced. And this time only Orochimaru, who was still disguised as the Kazekage, and Naruto decided to spectate along with the Hokage. Uh, the other Kage didn't come because that's what the plot calls for. So, anyways, the first match was Neji Hyuga versus Akari Kaguya. So when the match started, Neji gave his little speech about like natural talent being better than hard work and all that crap. And Akari was like, "Okay, okay, fam, let me educate this bitch a little bit, you know." And he was like, "All right, Neji, you seem like the type I have to educate a little bit. If you have talent but don't work hard, those who work a lot harder than you will end up surpassing you. I acknowledge the fact that even I am blessed with a lot of natural talent when compared to other people from my clan. Even my sensei didn't inherit our Kekigenkai as strongly as I did. However, what should happens when someone has natural talent but also trains to the maximum?" And as she said this, she activated her Byakugan and brought out two bone swords. And she's like, "If any of your chakra points get damaged by these, they'll never function again." And Neji was pretty scared, but his pride kind of made him start fighting. So Akari, she kept pace with Neji for a while in the taijutsu fight, but uh, to like see what he could do and stuff. But she wasn't really impressed, basically, and she was like, "I guess this fight has dragged on for long enough. Time to end it." And she extended her rib cage basically, and she trapped Neji inside it. And Neji tried to use 8 trigrams palm rotation, but he couldn't move basically. Akari then touched one of her bone swords to the skin on Neji's neck, and Neji started like screaming in pain because it was like burning like hell. And he was like, "Fine, fine, I give up, stop." And then Akari let him go, and the proctor called the match in Akari's favor. So now all the Hyugas who were spectating were like amazed that Neji was defeated so easily, as Neji was like the strongest genin in their opinion. And the fight actually like changed Neji's ideology, and he realized that natural talent was useless if he did not work hard to master it. So the next match was Sasuke versus Gara, and that kind of goes pretty much the same as the original, except Sasuke has like a wider arsenal of jutsu. But anyways, Gara still sees like his blood, and he goes crazy. And the Sand siblings take him to the forest to transform, and Sasuke he goes after them, just like in the original. And Sakura goes after Sasuke, and Orochimaru like he started his battle with Hiruzen. So Naruto sent a clone after Sasuke and Sakura, and Hiruzen looked at him like hoping for some help, and Naruto was like, "Well, it seems like the man who betrayed my parents by failing to fulfill their dying wish, and the man responsible for the near eradication of my clan wants my help against an enemy." And Hiruzen actually let out a tear in sadness and shame, and Naruto said, "You are lucky that I don't hold grudges against people, Lord Hokage. But I will help you on one condition." And Hiruzen, while fighting, was like, "Fine, what do you want?" And Orochimaru also stopped fighting momentarily as he wanted to hear what Naruto had in mind. And Naruto was like, "Allow me to take custody of Orochimaru and do as I see fit with him. You must cross off Orochimaru's name from the Konoha's bingo books, as well as remove his classification as a rogue hidden leaf ninja." And Hiruzen was like, "I'm sorry, but I can't agree to those terms." And Naruto was like, "Alright then, I'll sit here and watch your fight." And Hiruzen gritted his teeth and began fighting. And it was going well until Orochimaru reanimated the first and second Hokages. And Hiruzen then said, "Alright, Naruto, I agree with your terms. Please come and help me." And Naruto smirked and just broke the barrier that his sound four put around like the fight, using his Fire Fang sword that Kushina left him. Yes, I didn't forget about that. If any of you were thinking about that. However, since the anyways, back to the story. However, since the Fire Fang cannot incinerate chakra, Naruto actually engulfed the Fire Fang in both lightning and wind chakra to increase its piercing ability to the maximum, and this broke through the barrier. So he then sliced up the sound for real fast, like sushi basically, and this is before like they could even react, and the rest of their bodies like they began burning to ash, and Orochimaru was shocked, like seeing his best ninja so easily defeated. And Orochimaru tried to quickly extend his neck and bite Naruto, but Naruto was too fast for him, and Naruto just grabbed his neck and he squeezed it a little, causing Orochimaru to yelp in pain. And Naruto was like, I told you, don't even try it. And of course, this is happening while Hiruzen was fighting the previous Hokage. And before either of the reanimations could even react, Naruto threw two kunai onto them like with his free hand, and like it was so fast that no one could like see it and see the kunai, and the kunai buried themselves into the reanimations. So sealing kanjis is then like came out of the kunai and wrapped around the first and second Hokages, and they were finally like sealed. And Naruto then told Orochimaru to undo the reanimation jutsu, and Orochimaru smiled and was like, "Why should I? What can you do to me, kid?" And by the way, Naruto was still holding Orochimaru's neck, and Naruto said, "Hmm, many things. Perhaps I can kill you and destroy all the curse marks that you applied to people. Yes, I am aware of the true purpose of your curse mark. uh, or if you don't really if you aren't really scared about that for some reason, I can always seal away your memories. You will lose all the knowledge you have gained over the years and become a fool if I use a jutsu on you." And this scared Orochimaru because Orochimaru he valued knowledge above everything else, and he tried to reverse summon himself, but uh, he could not. Like before he could even make the hand signs, Naruto left Orochimaru's neck and quickly applied seals to Orochimaru's hands and feet so that he wouldn't be able to move them. And Orochimaru tried to use the snake shedding jutsu, but Naruto ran and stuck a senbon through his lips, and he actually like tied ninja wire to the senbon, so he like whizzed around throwing the senbon through Orochimaru's lips again and again. And Orochimaru became like he was shocked, and his lips were like completely sewn shut, basically. And Naruto then like walked over to Orochimaru, and as Orochimaru like he looked at him in defeat, and Naruto he removed the seals on Orochimaru's limbs and said, I know the reverse summoning and the reanimation jutsus, so stop the reanimation. If you try something else, I will know." And Orochimaru was scared of Naruto now, like properly. Like he was like Naruto was basically like his god. Like Orochimaru was pretty much Naruto's bitch. So he did as Naruto said, and Naruto placed chakra sealing tags all around Orochimaru. He then used he then used a flying Raijin to teleport to the prison in Uzushiogakure, and he came back. And by the way, Naruto built the prison in his village with chakra sealing jutsu so that chakra can't be used inside the prison cells, so that no one can really escape. And Naruto then he blitzed Hiruzen and put his hand on his head, and Hiruzen was like, "What are you?" And Naruto just shushed him, and he began unraveling Hiruzen's memories because he kind of wanted to see like what all crap happened under Hiruzen. And this is how he found out about the Uchiha massacre. Like he already knew it happened, but then he didn't really know the circumstances. And he looked at Hiruzen and said, "You disgusting pig! How dare you make a boy that young commit such acts?" And Hiruzen, like he was pretty sad about this and all that, and he looked down, and Naruto saw Danzo walking around nearby, like skulking around, and understood like what Danzo was hiding under his bandages. And Naruto was furious, like he was fuming, like he was livid, and he blitzed Danzo, and he basically like ripped off his bandages and like yanked out Shisui's eye and ripped off his Sharingan arm before Danzo could even realize what was happening. And Danzo was like, "Those are important assets of the leaf. and but Naruto just killed Danzo, and the Leaf Elders, and left. Like Danzo and the Leaf Elders are basically now dead, and he picked up Hinata, and his clone brought Sasuke, Sakura, and Gara back, and Sasuke was still injured, and his curse mark was like unraveled, and Naruto's clone defeated Gara and Shukaku pretty easily and fixed Gara's seal. And Gara was now like eternally grateful to Naruto. And Naruto wanted Gara in his village as he saw Gara as would be like a good fit in his village, and he had a lot of, and Gara was like, very powerful, and he had a lot of potential basically. So and Gara was happy to go to Naruto's village with him and live there. So Naruto teleported him back to the village, and Sasuke recovered, and Naruto was basically able to remove Orochimaru's curse mark with the help of Kurama's chakra. Naruto became friends with Sasuke because he kind of felt like this strange connection to Sasuke because you know reincarnates and shit. uh, but anyways, after this, the like everyone ran into Itachi and Kisame because they decided to visit and check up on Sasuke. And Itachi's plan was to check up on Sasuke, but then Kisame was to get the Nine Tails. But then you know you get what I mean, right? So anyways, like when Itachi and Kisame met the Jonin, like the same shit went down, and all of them got pretty much bodied. And but this time Sasuke met Itachi right after he bodied all the Jonin, and Naruto saw him a few minutes later as Itachi was about to put Sasuke under the Tsukuyomi. And Naruto walked up to Itachi and Kisame recognized Naruto, and he started running away. And Itachi was like, Kisame, what's wrong? And Kisame was like, Itachi, believe me, we can't take on that kid. He can easily overpower the both of us. And Itachi was intrigued, like, because he didn't know that Naruto was this powerful. And Kisame was like, well, if you decide to come later, you can do that, but I'm getting out of here. And Itachi looked at Naruto, and Naruto said, Itachi Uchiha, there is no need to pretend. I know about the great sacrifice that you made. In my opinion, you are the greatest shinobi alive. And Itachi was shocked, and Sasuke was like, what do you mean, Naruto? Itachi is evil. And Naruto tells him like the whole story, and Itachi tried to stop him, but Naruto just bound him with his chakra chains, and Itachi couldn't do anything now. And after the explanation, Naruto freed Itachi, and Sasuke went on about like wanting to destroy the leaf and stuff like that. And Itachi was like, "No, Sasuke, no matter what, don't do that." And Sasuke tried to argue, but Naruto was like, "I do not like this village very much. Yes, but I don't think you should do that, Sasuke. Your family's deaths, your brother's sacrifices, all will be for nothing if that happens. I know that you don't like the village anymore. So, would you like to live in mine?" And our goal is peace and stopping the mistreatment of people by society. And he also asked Itachi, and he was like, Itachi, I would also like you to join. I can heal you and save you from your disease now that you and your brother are reunited. There are also a few more Uchihas at my village, and I will also and you can live with them. And Naruto finally said, I will also be giving you this if you come to my village. I got it right after killing Danzo. And Naruto showed Itachi Shisui's eye, and like which was Shisui's Mangekyo Sharingan. And Itachi was like really surprised, and he was like, he told Naruto that he would come back to the Whirlpool, and Sasuke told him the same and agreed not to attack the leaf. And Itachi was confused as he thought that he and his brother, uh, sorry, yeah, and Obito, of course. Like Itachi was confused as he thought that he and his brother and Obito, of course, were the only Uchiha that were still alive. But this made him like more enthusiastic to come, and Sakura tried to come as well, but Naruto said, uh, "You're too weak, and the only way you could come to my village is if you married someone from there." And he also like took Hinata and teleported back to his village with everyone. And Sakura was just left standing there, and she was like, uh, she was basically like pretty sad about this, and she decided to get even stronger and prove to Naruto that she could be part of his village. And all right, so now we have a 2.5 year time skip to Shippuden, and during this time skip, Naruto, he opened his village for tourism, and he also told Orochimaru to let him make a summoning contract with the snakes, and also he asked Orochimaru to tell him what he knows about Ryuchi Cave so that he could learn Snake Sage mode. And in return, Orochimaru was promised freedom from being imprisoned, and he would get Naruto's enemies to conduct experiments on and to use as his new bodies. However, high security was placed upon him so that he doesn't like attack anyone in the village. And he also like helped the village. He was also like supposed to help the village implement anything new he came up with. Like to develop the village basically. This is the Whirlpool village, by the way. Anyways, Orochimaru decided to tell Naruto all of this, uh, like everything that Naruto asked him to, and Naruto did as Orochimaru said. And when it came to senjutsu training, Naruto's real body actually had to go to Ryuchi Cave instead of just a Earth clone, because the White Snake Sage identified him as a clone when he tried to inject venom into him. Because poison would like have no effect on a dead body, right? So basically the White Snake Sage observed this, and he was like, wait, something's not right with you. And then like the the White Snake Sage actually found out that Naruto actually sent his Earth clone, and then Naruto himself had to ended up having to come to learn Snake Sage mode. So it took a little bit over a year for Naruto to master Snake Sage mode, as snakes are the most aggressive out of the three. Three summonings, like the toads, slugs, and the snakes. And also Snake Sage mode was like more dangerous because of all the risks of turning into a snake, and the venom and stuff like that. So Snake Sage mode was more risky. So it basically took Naruto a lot longer to learn Snake Sage mode than Frog or a Toad or Slug Sage mode. So yeah, and so basically Naruto, he also managed to master the special Snake Senjutsu skill, which is inorganic reanimation. And guys, this is how Naruto looks while he's using Snake Sage mode. And by the way, like all Naruto's like appearances when he uses Sage mode are paint jobs, so if they're not in good quality, please don't judge. So anyways, I try my best, but still. Anyways, uh and during the time skip, Sasuke actually ended up unlocking the Mangekyo Sharingan because Itachi, he showed him a genjutsu of himself dying in a fight against a strong opponent. So yeah, that happened. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this episode, guys. I will be leaving it off here. The time skip into Shippuden does happen the next episode, and the Akatsuki will finally make its move. But the thing is, Gara is now in Uzushiogakure, so it will be kind of different than what it was in the original, right? So, anyways, I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Comment your thoughts about this video and suggest more what if ideas in the future videos. Sorry if my voice kind of sounded weird in this video. I kind of have a lot of allergies right now, so my throat is kind of bad. I'll try to, sound better the next video. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.